Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to another. Everyone is doing good. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, make sure you do drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and if you haven't hit the bell as well, make sure you do so so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. As always, guys, if there is any charts, recommendations, trades you're in, anything you want to share, drop it in the chat and we can discuss. As always, I'll go through markets which I'm looking at. I'll share that with you guys, any markets I'm currently trading, what the plan is for the week, also some thoughts on some of the news events coming up. We do have the yen and the pound interest rates tomorrow and the day after. So interesting circumstances regarding those markets and potentially some opportunities off the back of that. But yeah, as always, we'll start with the DXY. Then I'll go through some markets I'm currently trading. But yeah, since we spoke yesterday, the market hasn't really done too much. We have been looking pretty bearish. The market's slowly falling here, and we did speak about targets around 97.5. I'm still looking for that. Anywhere kind of around here is where we have key areas of support. You can see prices failing to continue this bearish structure previously. So I'm looking for price to bounce here and potentially come back to revisit, potentially reverse as well. We'll have to wait and see. It depends how price rejects, of course. But at the moment, it looks like we've had failure to break through the highs on our left, which will typically mean that price is now ready to roll over. We've broken through key structure once and twice, and almost a third time with this low. So to me, the path of least resistance is more downside. So in terms of opportunities, as I mentioned yesterday, kind of looking for some pullbacks with this one. The only areas which look good to me would be this area here. That would be the best area. Price may even just test that and continue bearish, but the bigger pullback would be much more sufficient. The only question is, will we actually have enough to actually see the pullback? Potentially price may even fall from this price here. So it depends what dollar wants to do. But in terms of direction, which my bias would be set for this week, it's definitely with the bears as we approach support here. Then we can discuss potentially some reversals if that lines up accordingly. At the moment, momentum still with the bears. It would be nice to get a pullback into 99, then a continuation. But we'll see. We'll see. At the moment, everything is still pointing down. What's up, Yoshi? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Any markets you're looking at, feel free to share. I did have a position which I entered yesterday on Aussie New Zealand dollar. I'm currently still in that position at the moment. Entered this one yesterday on the 4-hour candle closure. 4-hour candle closure yesterday morning. In a bit of profit at the moment, price is still testing more or less the zone which I'm shorting from. I haven't really seen price pull away yet, which is the key thing I'm looking for to start to manage the trade, stops to break even, partials, etc. I do have a pretty bearish bias here for Aussie New Zealand dollar. I've been talking a lot about this one, primarily because of where we're trading in the higher time frames. Price has tested some key levels of resistance here. Um, Basically, the high of this multi-year range. The price has been consolidating since 2015, and now we're testing it again in 2025. And we just had a very exaggerated wick piercing through the high. And all I'm looking to do is see if price can roll back over. So I'm pretty bearish here for Aussie New Zealand dollar. We've got a significant reaction on the monthly chart. And what I've done is drop to the lower time frames to see if I can take a piece of that pie. Nice rejection of this zone. Looking for us to push to go take out this low, and then hopefully test this area. If we can see price trade through that, there's a lot of room for us to maneuver into. But we'll see if that progresses. But yeah, at the moment, still a little bit flat, still kind of congested in this area. Need to see real follow through if the trade is going to get going. I've got my stops above the high. We'll see how that does progress. Raphael, pound Aussie, pound Swiss, pound CAD. Okay, a lot of pound pairs. I did jump into some pound CHF longs actually, so I can definitely go through that. Pound CAD longs as well. Okay, pretty much all the pound pairs. Funny enough, we do have the interest rates coming up on Thursday, so keep in mind of that, especially when you're trading so many pound pairs. But yeah, we'll definitely go through that. And then yeah, last week I was still holding an NZUSD position short, but It looks like I might be taking out a break even pretty soon. I did enter after this recovery of that prior high as price came back and filled this area, but most importantly, lining up some structure on the daily chart. I did trail stops to break even, mainly because this position is a bit more aggressive. Normally, I do give my trades a bit more room to breathe, especially when momentum's on my side. But because we've had the bigger pullback, technically the break of structure here as well, I am still pretty bearish, even if price does go through a deeper pullback. I'm still looking for us to roll over. It just might be a situation where I've entered a bit early, price goes a bit deeper, I find re-entries, and if my analysis still serves me correctly, I still do expect us to eventually roll over. So might have to have a second attempt at this one. Not out of the trade just yet, so the trade is still live and still potentially could fall in my favor, but we'll see. Stops have been moved to break even on that position. And again, USD is still looking primarily quite weak as well. So again, that could be another reason where entity USD does push a little bit higher before we do drop. Maybe DXY needs to go find support first before this can actually see some real downside. But yeah, currently in short and on New Zealand dollar. And I jumped into two new positions this week, which, well, not actually this week, today. New Zealand CAD longs. Actually, if we go to Orlando for that one. New Zealand CAD longs, I'm looking for a bit of a mean reversion opportunity. I was actually looking for sales earlier in the week. We've seen a nice move down. Prices now come back into some key support. All I'm looking to see is I can trade it back into resistance, back into that consolidation. Hopefully secure some profit. There is opportunity for price to go a lot further than that. We'll have to wait and see if price can actually maintain that level or if it does roll back over. I entered on the 2-hour chart actually as price started to reclaim back above this low. And on the 4-hour chart, we just got a successful candle closure. So I do want to see price remain back above this support. If it does start to break, I potentially might exit early. But if we stay above 0.796, looking for us to revisit support there. And again, especially with New Zealand dollar going break even, to allow me to open up this New Zealand CAD trade. I expect a situation where either New Zealand dollar gets called break even and NZD CAD plays out, or NZD CAD doesn't play out and then New Zealand dollar plays out. So kind of like a hedge um, of each swing, but we'll see. And then pound CHF, I do like the longs of pound Swiss as well. Hopped into a long for this one. I've got two areas which I like. The area which I've jumped into now, and also an area down here. If price does roll back over and doesn't hold this zone, I will look for another re-entry back at the low here. But the idea is that pound CHF is a little bit stretched. There's an idea that we could come back to value, come back to balance where price can potentially have a bigger pullback, especially if I go to the higher time frames, particularly the weekly chart. You can essentially see that we've got a very key level of support here, which price is failing to sustain below. We've had multiple attempts into this area, especially recently, a very quick recovery, and now I'm looking to see if we can have some value before potentially a bigger pullback, and then we continue on our bearish journey. Because after all, pound CHF is still very bearish, but we do have pretty much a range here. So being cautious of that range, looking to see if I can take advantage of a reaction off that low. And then potentially when we come back to higher prices, we might see the bears come back into play. So this trade remains valid as long as price remains above the range low. If price does start to break through, then of course the analysis for looking for a bit of a correction back towards the middle of the range is incorrect. At that point, we're looking at a breakout, and possibly pound CHF could be looking for a move back to this low here. So I have to be careful with that. But anywho, so pound CHF, I do like what I'm seeing. Two opportunities I'm looking at. I've given the first one a stab because we come back into value. You can see this is a consolidation which spat out all that momentum. We've come back to retest it. We've shown a lot of wicks into the zone, strong candle closure outside the zone. That tells me momentum is back in the market. Now I'm looking for at least a push back into resistance here. That'll be the first target. And then we'll go from there. We'll see if we can trail stops, see if we can take it further. If I need, I will have a second attempt around 1.06039 as well. I'll go through pound Aussie and pound CAD. Good morning, Rowan. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Yoshi, bullish pound USD. I'm observing our prices breaking through high time frame bearish areas of resistance. Yeah, it is, and we still do have USD Still have USD weakness in the market as well, so that's another catalyst. I will say be careful pound because we do have a rate cut coming up pretty soon, or anticipated rate cut. I am buying pound CHF, but the idea is that today's Tuesday. Hopefully by Thursday, which is when the rates do happen, this position should be break even, so I can manage my risk, lock in some partials, and then maybe price goes for me, maybe price doesn't. We'll have to wait and see. But at that point, hopefully I can be risk free. So if you are trading pound, be careful, especially if you're long bias as well, like myself. The idea is that we don't really want to be holding risk into that event, especially when it's anticipated not to go in our favor. I'll go through a few more pound pairs. But yeah, be careful of that. If you get a chance, could you please take a look at the FTSE? Of course, Rowan, no problem. We'll take a look. CS, my man, hope you're doing good. Welcome to the stream. Reports come today. Could set the direction for the DXY finally. Well, reports have always been coming, CS, my man. Reports have always been coming, and potential direction happens, potentially it doesn't. All I can say is just focus on the chart. The reports are, you're absolutely correct. They're a catalyst for direction. But we've just had the Fed interest rate. Of course, I think we do have CPI this week as well. It's event after event, and then sometimes you get direction, sometimes you don't. Yeah, I've just kind of given up, really, to be honest. If we get direction, great. If we don't, we don't. To me, the market looks quite bearish at the moment. So that's really what my take is. Until we come back to areas of value, I'm not looking to do too much with the dollar at the moment. But yeah, hopefully we get some movement. Anyway, let's go through pound Aussie, pound CAD. Then I'll take a look at the pound USD and FTSE. Of course, any other requests, drop it in the chat, and I'll be happy to take a look. But pound Aussie, I'm still pretty bearish on. I said I was looking for some shorts for this one last week. Actually, no, the week before last, actually. Last week we were just here. Yeah, so the week before last, I was looking for some shorts back at the high, especially because we got such a lovely sweep back over here. You can see price spiked through that resistance, recovered it. I was looking actually for a retest and then to get some shorts here because the risk to reward was a bit skewed there. Never got the retest. However, we haven't really got a breakout. So the short idea is still very much on. We've effectively got a range here. Buyers doing a pretty good job at the low of the range. We're seeing some momentum here. I'm hoping we can continue to push back to resistance, and then I can look for some opportunities back at the high. I wouldn't even be opposed to looking at some shorts back at this high as well. I'm very bearish on the higher time frames. If I scale to the daily chart, I'm looking at these lower highs starting to take control here. So the plan with pound Aussie, I'm trying to search for that area of value where I can place my shorts and then take advantage of potentially another bearish swing. And I do think there's still room to the downside, because even if I scale to the monthly time frame, if you look where we're trading here, we've just gone and taken out some key monthly highs with a massive wick, and we've just basically failed to see price sustain this level. The momentum's completely died out. I do see us rolling back over more towards this area where we've got all this congestion around 1.9, 1.85. So in my book, there's still meat to this move. There's still room to the downside. We've taken out highs on a significant time frame. This could give us a nice trend as we've come up on the way back down. So I think we're still early to the game, still early to the shorts, relatively, because of course we have seen some nice swing highs happen there, but I still do expect more downside. So as price does find support here, these might be some nice opportunities for a short. So I'm pretty bearish on pound Aussie, but of course we have had a reaction of support. So if you've been bullish, this is the place where you want to go long. Not here. We're coming back to the middle of the range. That's the worst place to look to buy or sell. So I don't really see any opportunities to go long, to be honest, on pound Aussie necessarily. I'm also fixated on the shorts now, especially as we push to the opposing end of the range back to resistance. So this is now seller's territory. If you are long, great. I wouldn't suggest getting into now. I think we're a little bit far gone. Pound CAD's an interesting one. I'm still very bearish on pound CAD, especially because of where we're trading. I am looking at a pretty big swing to the downside of pound CAD. And again, if I just scope to the monthly chart, you can see where we're trading. We've taken out some critical highs above this point here too. So it's a similar situation to pound Aussie, very overextended, taking out some major highs, looks like momentum is dying as well. I do expect us to roll back over. However, I don't want to jump the gun and get in too early, so it's all about timing as well. And primarily, if we go to the daily chart, you can see we do have a lot of congestion here as well. So the market is quite flat, quite reluctant to see momentum in a particular direction. The way I see it, that we're having another consolidation here as well. I don't mind the idea of a push back to resistance and then some shorts at the high here. It's not the best location for the trade. I mean, the higher time frame analysis adds up. The reason I say it's not the best location is because we're still within a larger range, but at least you can be back to resistance. You can get your stop loss relatively safe. And if downside occurs, you're positioned well to take advantage of it. So pound CAD, I don't really see any longs for this one either, especially taking into account what the higher time frames are doing as well. To me, just looks like a range here with two fake outs, one over there, and then you got your second over there. If price potentially can push back to the low here, you might find some nice short-term buys back towards the mean. Likewise, some nice sells back towards the mean there as well. I do expect the bigger move to be to the downside, so that's where I do see the most momentum. But in terms of opportunities, I wouldn't be looking to buy here. This is in the middle where all the noise is. Even with this bullish engulfing candle, you're just pushing right back to resistance where we could roll back over. So in terms of the execution, I think it's a little bit off as well. So yeah, if you're looking at pound CAD, let me actually just brighten that zone so everyone can see. Yeah, in terms of pound CAD, if you're looking for clear opportunities, I would fixate towards the high of the range, or even better if you can push to this area. That would be a nice place to short as well. You can see every time price pushes to a high, sweeps, comes back down, comes back down. That's also a nice area of value there too. But at the very least, shorts here or longs there. Uh, Anything in the middle is not great. So I would avoid that. In terms of pound USD, so yeah, pound USD is seeing some upside. USD is still primarily quite weak as well. We've actually regained VWAP as well here too. So if I darken that up, which was quite important intraday, you can see price is now trading back above VWAP and actually had a successful retest last week as well. Momentum has picked up today with that bullish engulfing candle. If I drop lower, probably see a bit more detail here. So I like the way price has now broken through key resistance here as well. So I think now the odds of price pushing back to that high is now pretty high. So yeah, I would let's see if I could drop to the 15 actually. Yeah, so I'd be looking to see if you come back, find support here, some wicks rejection, and then that looks like a pretty smooth ride back to highs there. You don't have a lot of opposing structure against you. Now that you've kind of broken out all of this mess, now you've got real opportunity back at the highs there. So yeah, the way I see it, pound USD intraday is looking very bullish, and based on momentum from the past week or two, has been pretty bullish as well. So buys make the most sense. I do think in the higher time frames, as we approach back into resistance, especially between 1.34 and 1.35355. This is like an area where I'm looking for us to potentially sell off later on, which kind of lines up with the DXY bias as well, which is, as the DXY continues to fall to support, then I'm expecting price to pick up some longs again. Pound USD, I'm looking at pretty much the opposite. We might even go a little bit higher, even potentially towards this area here too. That could be a scenario before we push back down. So intraday, intra-week, I do think you've got a little bit more upside to come there, but be careful of this area generally speaking because it's quite noisy. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at for pound USD. We can go through some other USD pairs. Um, where was I? Euro pound, Raphael. Yes, we can take a look. Steph, I mean, we're getting too much echo. Um, am I connected to the wrong mic again? Yeah, let me Let me know if anyone else is experiencing a lot of echo as well, so I might need to reconnect to the stream. Roddy, what's up? Hope you're doing good. It's been a while. Welcome back. Hope you're well. No longer get notified. Yeah, I've heard YouTube's a bit inconsistent with that, to be honest. But like I found you, have you done gold hour 15? No, I have not looked at gold yet. I can definitely go through gold and have a look for you. What's up, replay? I'm good, my man. Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. Of course, any markets you guys are looking at, drop it down in the chat. We'll be happy to take a look at it. Of course, any particular time frames, because we trade different time frames. So if you do want my opinion on a certain time frame, let me know the pair and the time frame as well. Then I can definitely take a look for you. But yeah, we'll go through Euro Pound quickly. I don't think I've missed that pair. No, I haven't. We'll go for Euro Pound quickly, then I'll take a look at gold as well. Diablo, what's up? Obscura, welcome to the chart, to the stream. Long time no see. Hope you well. Yes, I will take a look at BTC as well. I will take a look at BTC again. Any market you guys request, I'll take a look. Of course, I have the pairs which are on my watch list, which I can speak about in terms of setups, markets, and trading. I'll share that as well. But if you guys do want to take a look at a certain pair, I'll be happy to look. But we'll start with Euro Pound, then I'll go through gold and BTC. So yeah, with Euro Pound, not my favorite pair in the world. I'm always cautious with this one. Just from a trend perspective, it doesn't trend well. So by nature, it's a difficult market to trade if you're primarily looking for trending markets. If you're looking for mean reversion, it's actually not a bad market to trade because that's what it does most of the time. Anywho, so Euro Pound's been pretty bullish. It's taken out some highs here. Reluctant to see continuation. We have built up a bit of a consolidation here as well. So it looks like we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place because you got a bit of a range below us and you got a bit of a range above us. So it looks like prices contested a lot here, had that breakout, out contested a lot there as well. So from a daily perspective, I would wait for price to have a much bigger pullback towards value. This looks like a nice place for a buy. Again, I'll still keep it short term as well. I wouldn't be looking for anything crazy here for Euro Pound. I know the trend is typically up, but if I expand to a weekly chart, well, that trend has less significance now. The market looks incredibly flat. So I would never be confident that we're going to get a big continuation on a market like this, particularly when we're trading in the middle of a range here as well. So not the best place for continuation trades. Doesn't mean you can't take some buys and follow trends. You just have to be cautious with targets, how aggressive you're going to be with pushing the trade as well. This looks like a nice area of value. Lovely consolidation, sharp breakout. If we can come there, start to reject well, I think that's a smart place for a buy and potentially another lower high because we're starting to be consistent with that. So let's say price puts another one in, has a drop. You're looking to basically target another lower high in that sequence. Best case scenario, maybe you do catch a breakout. If I drop a little bit lower to the 4-hour chart, so essentially, again, this is our range in a bit more detail. You can look at these are some of the fake outs here. So you got fake out one, fake out two, price now come back to the middle. Really strong rejection there. So perhaps we're actually going to see some follow through now and the lower highs are continue. So yeah, I would suggest a push towards this area here, 0.869. This is where I see the next area of value. And then perhaps we see another pullback to the upside as well. You can take some shorts here, but effectively you want to be priced a little bit higher. I think shorting now is a little bit late. But yeah, this is where I see the next long opportunity. It looks like the shorts are kind of in play at the moment. As long as we don't suddenly break above resistance there, I do see Euro Pound rolling back over. So yeah, Euro Pound looking for a swing to 0.69 and then probably swing to the upside above. Just wait for price to get there and wait to see some rejection before confirming that opportunity. Gold. So gold's seen some downside. Interesting stuff. This is an opportunity to find some buys, or this is an opportunity to start panicking. Well, the way I see it, market's still up. We've got highs just above us here, which I'm still expecting price to go and take out. If I drop to the 4-hour chart, we do have this massive range just below us here. So to me, it looks like we've already had a confirmed breakout because it's not like price has broken out and quickly came back in the range. We actually had a breakout, successful retest, and a push back to the highs there. So it's an effective break and retest setup, but we haven't had any follow through past this high. We've struggled to break through the high. So it looks like price is now coming back down to go and find some more buyers. Do you perhaps try and have another attempt, at least, to go and take out those highs? So with gold, I would suggest look to see if price can pull a little bit deeper than this low, because this is where a lot of people were positioned long on Friday to take that buy. I would expect now that low to be taken out, a deeper test of this area, and then the long comes into play, provided we reject well and see enough momentum come into play. So yeah, gold bias is still very much long. We've got a nice area of value just resting below here, for 42.40 to 42, yeah, 42 basically, 4,200. Anywhere in there, that zone can see some upside. If I drop a bit more intraday, like hourly chart, well, again, we've had a really expansive move down, respect the highs there, brief consolidation, which price is now breaking through and starting to see some consistency there as well. So from a 15-minute perspective, I do think sales actually look pretty good, short term though. So potentially a move back towards value here. Nice rejection. That looks like a nice place for a lower high. Really like this double top here. Yeah, 1 and 2, and then we drop. So I would say there's two areas where shorts look good. Either a run back towards the range and a continuation, or a slightly deeper pullback into this high and then a short there as well. Now, this is, of course, slightly more aggressive because we are in a bullish market on the daily chart, and that does play a role. So these shorts are less probability than if the daily was bearish. So that is one thing to take into account, but it makes sense based on market structure, based on how we're moving, and based on the value that's still resting below us here. I expect us to go and find that value before potentially continuing. So not only do you have a reason to go down, but we've also got some healthy areas to short from. 4,300 and 4,380. And then, yeah, potentially some longs. And if we fail at both areas, so if we just get a strong push that just breaks through completely, then things have shifted again. And then you can look for pullbacks, perhaps even a retest to take it back to highs, so on and so forth. So if you're looking for longs, I would wait for us to break the high or push back to value. If you're looking for shorts, there's some nice areas of play to keep an eye on. So yeah, that's kind of my take there for gold. Okay, so we'll go through BTC next. NFTJ called gold buy when aggressive fell, retest and sold at the high closing now. Waiting again for retest to buy after NFP. Oh, yeah. Do we have NFP? Is NFP back? To be fair, I actually, wait. Is NFP coming? Am I going crazy? Oh, yeah, NFP is, yeah, I completely missed that, actually, I'm not gonna lie. Completely missed that. Yeah, just because we haven't been having NFP lately, so I completely, um, ignored information on NFP because I was like, "Yeah, NFP is just not happening, so what's the point of, following it?" And then, of course, we're kind of in the middle of December as well, which is not the normal time for NFP either. So yeah, completely forgot about that. Good. Thank you for reminding me there, Adam TJ. So yeah, potentially again with NFP coming out, definitely take that into account. I completely missed that, to be honest. So yeah, with NFP later today, 1:30. Yeah, so with those goal setups, take that for a pinch of salt now, 100%, because NFP could change things, especially an NFP like this one, which we hadn't had in a while. It's a bit of a unique scenario, to be honest. I don't really know how it's going to react. So be careful with that. Philip, what's up? How are you doing? I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Hope you're well. Took a Sean CAD yen, 122. Okay. Target 111.5. Okay, we'll have a look at CAD yen. Well, my bias is interesting for the yen pairs. I do think we can have a bit of a correction. We've got the interest rates tomorrow coming out for the yen, which predicted to be high. So I'm guessing there's going to be some profit taking on these bullish trends, which could help your trade out. I'm kind of waiting for the rates to be over, then trade the yen, because then I'll know what the situation is in terms of, we've got a bullish trend. Is that still going to persist post rates? or is it going to change? Once I've kind of figured that out, then my bias is kind of pretty clear. But we'll take a look at CAD-GM for you, no problem. Replay dollar CAD sell as well. Okay, we can take a look, but the market is very choppy and slow. Yeah, dollar CAD is quite choppy at the moment. It's frustrating. Yeah, I mean, I can go through reason why it is as well, actually. But first, let me go through BTC. So Bitcoin is at an interesting area. Appreciate it, Diablo. So yeah, Bitcoin's at an interesting area, which is this area to our left. Very significant level. Reason why we consolidated here and then spat out a lot of momentum. So this is clearly an area where there's a lot of activity, a lot of people buying, selling this area, and created that necessary movement for a continuation. So BTC is approaching a very critical area. We've wicked into it once, so we're seeing rejection. This is implying that this zone is holding and we could turn around. I would wait for some more heavier rejection because we've had a pretty sharp move down. So what I want to see is price come here, spend some time, maybe a few wicks, and then a strong close on the weekly chart. I'll go intraday a little bit in a second. Kind of like what we had here, consolidation, strong close. That to me says, okay, the buyers are control. I'm expecting us to run back to highs. If we can see that happen, then yeah, I'm expecting at the very least a push back towards this consolidation, because equally, this area is significant as well. Consolidation spits out a lot of momentum. Again, a lot of buyers and sellers, a lot of activity at that area. So this here would be the next area of value for BTC to travel to if we respect that zone. So the buyers are pretty clean once we get confirmation in the higher time frames. I think the mistake a lot of people do is they find lower time frame confirmation and justify that to support higher time frame moves, when it's actually you have to wait for the time frame itself to confirm on that time frame that it's ready to move, and then you can scale lower to try and pinpoint entries. Because if you always wait for lower time frame confirmation for a high time frame move, what you find is you just take a lot of early positions before everything's actually set up. So I would still wait for that on a higher time frame, primarily the weekly chart, a nice bullish engulfing candle to say that okay, momentum is with the buyers. In terms of the lower time frame, so daily chart, very, very flat. So again, as I've been saying all week, I wouldn't be looking to trade inside this area here. This is where all the noise is. If you're looking for opportunities, your opportunities are here, right at the high. I would look for price to push back towards resistance again, potentially even wick through, and there's my short to take it back towards the mean, maybe back to support if things look really good. You can even potentially look for some buys at the low here as well. If we can stab through on the daily chart, sort of like what we did here. This is a nice wick through, nice rebounds, nice wick there initially, nice bounce. Effectively, you've got a range and the opportunities are at the high and at the low. The opportunities are not in the middle. The closer you get to the middle, the less edge you'll have. So we know what we're waiting for in the higher time frame, which is momentum to confirm that okay, this is support, and we are potentially on our way to our next area of value, which is the highs. So we're waiting for that. In the meantime, there's some short-term buys and sells we can just pinpoint at the high and the low of the range. So again, if I drop to the 4-hour chart, these are your opportunities. So if I was looking for another short opportunity, I'd wait for another run back to the highs, shorts over there. Or if I'm waiting for some buys, I'll probably wait for a run to this low and then look for some buys on the sweep and the reclaim there. So that's my opportunity. That's my opportunity. Anywhere else is just noise, really. Excuse me. Out of the 15 and the 30-minute time frame for today, what can you see potentially? Okay, intraday. Don't really go intraday much on the BTC, just because liquidity comes a bit of an issue sometimes. But yeah, 15. Okay, so 15 looks like we've consolidated well here. Momentum is picking up already as well. So potentially we've already had our decision for the day, which is these buys. I would be very careful there with following that momentum, knowing that we still do have some room to the downside here. We could still very much get a kind of a fake move up, push down here, and then see the buys come into play. That would be a very nice setup, actually. And especially if you look to our left here, if I just move this out of the way, if you look to our left, we do have this brief range here to be careful of. So despite the momentum we're seeing here, if it does start to pull back, leave a or maybe probably won't pull back. We only got 3 minutes left. But if we do see a rejection and price comes back down, that to me is a bit of a sell signal for a push back towards support. I would suggest if we can get maybe a strong 4 hour close to really confirm momentum's coming back, then that could be a nice buy on the 15 for a pullback. So if you can see price really push away from this, then you're looking for a correction and then a continuation. Because this is price having moved down, congested, momentum picked up. Now you're looking for a correction and a follow through. It looks like we actually might get that, to be honest, because it looks like price is just smashing through that zone. But I would still wait for a more meaningful close. And then next target, well, of course, you're going to have to be a bit wary of this low. I would say primarily all of this is a bit of a sticky area. You can see a lot of consolidation in this area here. So anywhere between 88, 400 to 90, I'd say be watchful. Price could roll back over from anywhere there. So yeah, in terms of 15-minute, I would say let's see if we can get a break through this zone. If you get a strong break, which we may get, or wait for the second candle to confirm that, then you're looking for some pullbacks. It would be nice to see a retest of the zone. That's your entry, and then some follow through back to the highs. But yeah, we are seeing price really push there on the 15. I can't lie. I'll come back and see how we close. When's the 30-minute candle? 30-minute candle's going to close in 16 minutes. To be fair, looks like some significant momentum. It's not looking like a fake out. You always want to be careful because sometimes it then turns to be one, but momentum looks pretty strong. We'll see how that closes. But yeah, if this is the real deal, then we've got the breakout. The market's effectively said the direction for the day is going to be up. And now you're effectively looking just to buy at a better price, because you could effectively buy the breakout, but it just puts you at a worse price. You want to be looking for value with a pullback to then take the buys. Yeah, price is really surging there for BTC. So it looks like we've had our direction. Again, I'll wait for candles to close. And then, yeah, targets back to this level. Hopefully that made some sense there. We can take a look at CAD yen for Philip. He's got a position there we can have a look at, and of course dollar CAD as well for replay too. We can speak on that. And dollar CAD, yeah, is very, very choppy at the moment. Yeah, just spiked now a little bit. Yeah, looks like BTC is seeing some excitement today. There's a big zone above us, so that's effectively your target for the day. If price can get there, that's when you're going to start looking to take some profits and be a bit more cautious. About CAD yen. So CAD yen's an interesting one. All the yen pairs are pretty interesting because of the week we have. In terms of where we're positioned, higher time frames. Again, we've just taken out this high here. Again, is this a legit breakout, or is this price potentially, excuse me, coming back to close back within the range, and then you just got yourself another textbook fake out, and now you're just going to look for sells for even a bigger move down, because again, this will be a range. That should mean that'll be your value in the middle. So there could be some downside there for CAD yen, but of course not confirmed yet. We've had the breakout. We haven't had the reclaim. We haven't had price close back within the level. So technically speaking, we could still very much retest and continue. So yeah, either scenario is probably just as likely at the moment. In terms of the 4-hour chart, at least we know where we're trading. In terms of the 4-hour chart, I would suggest, okay, so we've got equal highs there. So it looks like we've got a bit of a build up here. So price failing to push higher. Looks like we're trying to break lower. So yeah, shorts do make sense. Where's your target? 111.5. Where is that? 111.5. So that's around here. I mean, I like the placement of the target back in value, which is this range here. So the price is going to bounce, like we just mentioned in the higher time frame. The price is going to bounce and continue higher. That's kind of where I expected to do it from. So your target is in a safe place. It makes sense for price to get there, and you're protecting yourself by not staying in the trade too long. A lot of people put targets at really average areas, and then not surprised when price doesn't quite get there. This is a target that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I like what I'm seeing. I would say effectively, as long as price doesn't break for that double top, you're likely to see that retracement anyway. And then, of course, with the rates increasing, maybe you might see some early selling pressure come into the market, with that anticipated rate hike from the yen there. So I like the idea, a little bit on the aggressive side, but you do have good standing. Equal highs, looks like we're breaking structure. You got an area value below us. Looks like fundamentally could be positioned well too. It's just, I would say, as long as we can stay below, value here, so we don't start to climb back in. Because if we do that, then effectively we just range. That's neutral. Price could break up. It could break down. It's anyone's guess. If we can stay below here, then you're looking good. Chances are price does roll in your direction. So yeah, CAD Gen, I like the opportunity, especially if we stay below the range there. Then the next area would be this low, would be that range. If we close back in, especially strongly, that's where it might get a bit awkward. And especially if you're going into the news tomorrow, maybe it's best just to close out early. But yeah, I do like the counter trend opportunity there, Anthony. It does make sense to me. Okay, dollar CAD. So you're in a dollar CAD short, which I am bearish on dollar CAD. It's just where we're trading is just not great, which is why I'm reluctant to play trigger any entries. Even though I'm bearish on USD as well, it looks like dollar still has room to fall. It's just, if you look where we're coming into here, we've had a range here, so you're going to get congestion because this is where price has been bought and sold quite heavily. So you're seeing price mimic that condition almost over here. So I'm going to expect dollar CAD, which again is a very mean reverting pair as well. Doesn't flow well very often, especially after already a big drop as well. We could expect to see price get a bit ugly. I still do expect us to see a push here. I just don't expect it to be a clean just move like that. Very, very rare that does happen, especially when we're moving into noise. So of course something fundamentally could happen, and then we do see that move, but it's going to take that extra kind of kick to get it going. Price by itself is relatively quite fat. So in terms of opportunities for a short for dollar CAD, I'm looking to see if price can push back towards resistance here, and that's where I would like to position myself, kind of where we found resistance here in the past and where we've also found support here as well. And that way I'm kind of not trading directly into value, because this is where we got the mean of that range. This is where I expect the most buyers and sellers to be positioned roughly. This is where I can find some shorts for nice stop loss, take advantage of a push down. Maybe price starts to find support again. Well, by then I can already lock in some gains, maybe trail stop loss to break even, so I can already pay myself for that. And of course, it'd be great to see a complete follow through. But selling down here is always a bit sticky, especially with support so close next to you as well. So I'd be careful down here. I still like the bias. I still would be bearish, but I do want to see some higher prices first before I do find any entries. So yeah, that's kind of what I'll be waiting for dollar CAD. But I do definitely agree with the bias. Okay, New Zealand CHF. Yes, we can take a look at New Zealand CHF as well. So NZD CHF. This one's an interesting one. I am actually looking at some temporary upside for New Zealand CHF. Now, this is a very bearish market, so you always have to be careful if you're looking for some buys in the market that looks like this. But I do expect to see some pullback from New Zealand CHF for most of the CHF pairs, and effectively we have seen a bit recently too. So I do expect to see a bit more upside, and especially where we're trading on the 4-hour chart, I like it. We've got this zone here, which price has come back into. Effectively, we are sort of holding, but I can't lie, it is quite messy here. So what I'm actually looking to see if price can do is actually push lower first, maybe shake out some early buyers, recover this low, and that there looks like a nice opportunity for a long like this, and then looking for the push back towards high. I like that as an opportunity. That way you kind of got your market structure, lower low, lower high, break of structure, higher high, higher low, then you bet on the higher high there as well. So the advantage of looking for this move is because the market's really choppy here. So if you do take any buys here, you're going to experience chop, and then you kind of hoping that price will then break for you. Whereas if you wait for an entry slightly lower, that price is struggling to retain price at these areas. You can see every time you spike here, we come right back up, push, come right back up. So you know that you're entering in an area where there's no noise roughly. Of course, you do have noise just directly above you, but again, you can still lock in some partials. Worst case scenario, you take a small win. I mean, worst case scenario, you take a loss, but you're effectively entering at a better price. And then if you can see some follow through through the noise, well, then you're looking to target the swing high, and then you're looking for a bigger pullback. Of course, it's an aggressive trade because we don't have the high time frames in our favor. But I do see pullback. It looks to me that price has swept this low now, and potentially sellers have been a bit exhausted, and maybe we can come back more towards value there. So yeah, New Zealand CHF, I'm actually having a bit of a short-term bullish bias here. Long-term, I'm still 100% bearish, of course. But would I be looking to sell now? No, I think it's a bit too early, especially with this bullish move. So I'll wait for that to kind of play out, and then maybe there might be some sells later on to take it back down. And that's kind of where I'm at for a lot of CHF pairs. Pound CHF, which is a market which I just hopped into literally this morning. I mean, literally as we got to the stream, looks like in a bit of profit here. This was the first entry. I was going to take a second entry if this fails. I still am because it could still fail. But again, the logic here, price has been consolidating in this. Let me just make it brighter so you guys can see. So price again has been consolidating here. Look at the pullback. Look at the wicks there to the downside. So much rejection. Now I've seen a strong close to indicate that we've absorbed all of this. And now the buyers are now in charge. So I've hopped into the entry there. My first target is a push back to this area. I know this is a significant area because price consolidated, had a big strong move down. So that's going to be an area of value where we could be drawn towards. And the real reason why I'm bullish is because of where we're located on the weekly chart. You can see key support here. We've just had a run of those lows with this exaggerated move. And now price has recovered the level. So effectively what I'm saying is, okay, we've swept the lows. We've had a fake out. Price is now back above support. If this level is going to hold, I'm expecting to see some more upside. From a weekly perspective, we've got this zone we could come into. We've got this zone we could come into. There's some targets and some areas of value which the weekly could be attracted towards because basically the sells have failed. So now I expect the buys to be in control. So effectively drop to a lower chart to pinpoint the entry and hopefully take advantage of that swing, with this area being my first target. And then I would have a second stab there if that first trade does fail, but hopefully it doesn't. So yeah, looking pretty good at the moment. Let's see if we can get some more follow through here. And again, I expect similar moves for quite a lot of the CHF pairs. Just pound CHF set up the best, which is funny because we do have a rate cut coming up for pounds. So there's a bit of a contradiction, but I'm hoping this trade can be break even by then because I still got 2 days, which is more than enough time for me to get to break even. If we can get there in 2 days, fantastic, but we'll see. Ood, what's up? Morning. Hope you're doing good. New Zealand yen, thanks in advance. No worries. Yeah, we can take a look at New Zealand yen for you. If you guys are enjoying the stream, by the way, please be sure to drop a like. It does really help out. I really do appreciate it. It helps the channel grow as well. So if you are liking what you're seeing, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. I am very grateful for all of that. But yes, we'll go through New Zealand yen, and then we'll take a look at Lorraine. Good afternoon. Hope you're well. Mercy, pound moving like crazy. Yeah, pound is quite strong today. I don't know if we had some pound news this morning. I didn't check. I mean, the pound news I'm focused on is the one on Thursday, so I wasn't really checking for any pound news today, to be honest. But yeah, pound is definitely strong, absolutely, which is interesting going into a rate cut, but we'll see how that does progress. Anywho, we'll take a look at New Zealand yen first. So NZD, interesting. So again, another market ranged here, massive breakout. We're coming back for a retest here. I actually like New Zealand yen, especially from a bullish perspective. The reason why I like New Zealand yen is because we're not at extremes yet. If you look at all the other yen crosses, they've all taken out critical highs on a weekly, monthly chart. We can quickly run through them, but I'll go for New Zealand yen first. So yeah, price is not at a critical turning point. It was in this zone, consolidated, momentum's broken out. This doesn't look like a fake out to me. Of course, what would confirm a fake out would be if price was to close back within the range. That confirms the fake out. Well, then we're looking for shorts at that point, retest, hold the range back towards mean, potentially back towards the opposing low. So we've got opportunity there as well. But if this is the real deal, the price is holding above range here. Well, we're coming back into smaller value here. If we can hold this, this is a great place for continuation, back to highs and back towards value around 90, 92.4. So the way I see it, we've had a breakout, a brief stall, momentum come back. We'll come back to attract some more buyers. Are buyers going to win this battle here? I don't know. We have to find out. And that's where price action and rejection and momentum comes into play. I would still say it's too early to say here. I would like to see some more wicks, some more rejection, and then a strong close to indicate that the buyers are winning this, and that there's your entry signal to take it back to this area. And then if you're lucky, new highs, very similar to the pound CHF trade I've got on at the moment, actually. So as you can see, price had the push, pull back into the range, a lot of wicks, strong close. Now you're looking for price to move back to the high. New Zealand yen, basically the same setup there, which is consolidation, strong move back towards value. Can we find support here, and then can we push back to the next zone? I think we can, based on higher time frames. Just the rejection here is not quite sufficient for me to say, okay, yeah, it looks like we're finding support here. It looks like buyers are stepping in. It looks like we're about to move up. It's 50-50. We're still seeing wicks to the upside there too. So I'd see how that progresses. Again, maybe price is going to stall between now and interest rates tomorrow. So be mindful of that. But we are in a zone where buyers could come into play. I'll quickly run through my positions because we are coming up to the end of the stream. So I do have 4 trades I'm in at the moment. New Zealand dollar is the oldest trade, which I took last week. It is break even. To be honest, I'm expecting to be taking out a break even here because I think I've mistimed USD strength coming back into the market. I took this short last week. Price did come back into this consolidation, but basically failing to get through. I've removed risks, so stops now break even. I haven't locked in any partials yet, just because it's just too early to lock in gains. I'm still looking for a big swing, so even if price does continue to go against me, I do like the idea of potentially some more shorts closer to this area, and then a big push down. But yeah, that'll probably be a trade for next week or maybe later. I'm just going to see how that trade does develop. The risk reward makes sense, but yeah, I have trail stops to break even. I did take some shorts on Aussie New Zealand dollar yesterday. So that was a short I took on Monday. So again, similar idea. Price has had a really nice push down. We pull back into value here, seeing a lot of rejection at the highs. I entered on this candle, big bullish candle, massive wick rejection. Entered that candle, some stops above the high. Essentially, what I'm saying is, price has been choppy in this area. It's it had a nice drop here, come back to retest the value, and I'm looking for the continuation. And also, the big reason really why I'm short is because of where we're trading the monthly chart. Massive range here. You can see respected it once, twice, and now we're here a third time. You can see the monthly candle, massive piercing wick to the upside, pull back, close back within the range. So from a monthly perspective, we're struggling to break above this level. And the monthly has the most significance, is the most major time frame. Well, effectively, you can go quarterly, yearly time frames, but from a retail sense, it is a very, very important time frame. So we got significance there on the monthly chart, and effectively, I'm looking for us to roll back over, and I've just looked to time it on the 4-hour basis. So we'll see how that progresses. I also jumped into a New Zealand CAD along as well. Wrong chart. I also jumped into a New Zealand as well, which looks like still at my entry, I think. If this can load. Yes, Wilfred, we can go through US 30 as well. I haven't actually spoken about any indices today. So yeah, definitely go through US 30 as well. If TradingView can load. I've been having some issues with TradingView actually. I tried to use the TradingView app, but it just wasn't working. Maybe if I just refresh. Oh, there we go. Sorry if I've just blinded anyone there. TradingView wasn't playing along. This is the long entry I just took on New Zealand CAD, again, just before hopping into the stream there as well. So looking for some continuation here. We've just recovered this low. Again, there's our range. Effectively, I'm buying towards the range in this situation. If you look at pound CHF, I'm buying away from the range. So the pound CHF price has come back to value, and I'm looking for a continuation of that value. Whereas with New Zealand CAD, I'm looking at price which has gone away from value, which is wrong one. And by value, I just mean consolidation, just because there's a lot of activity there. Click the wrong one again. That's convenient. So yeah, we've gone away from value. I'm looking to trade it back towards it. We've got a lot of failure of continuation. First drop, price recovered. Second drop, price recovered. So now I'm looking to trade at least to this area. But again, I do expect to see a pushback to highs and maybe higher prices too. So I'll manage it as we go along. Okay, let's go through US 30, and then I'll look to finalize things. So yeah, in terms of US 30, again, I haven't really been following US 30 since last week just because we got new all-time highs. I like NAS, and I like, yeah, mainly NAS to be honest, because I think even S&P just about made new all-time highs. With US 30, we had a big explosion last week and we ripped through the high. So the value is still there, but there's more value in the NAS because we haven't done that yet. So there's still a likeliness that the market's going to push higher. With US 30, because we've just seen some highs, there's always that natural pullback situation there. So have to be careful of that. In terms of the next trade, I like the zone here. Lovely consolidation. Price again spat out a lot of momentum there. So I would suggest if you can keep up this corrective behavior, come back to retest that value. That looks like a nice place for a long. That way, again, you're not buying too early. A lot of people are trying to buy over here. They're in a bit of drawdown at the moment. Potentially could make that bit even more painful, come a little bit lower. This is where the value is, especially because if price does break through that, that's a big red flag there for US 30. If you break through this low, I could see price coming back towards this area, which is a much, much deeper pullback. So it's quite important that we do actually respect the zone and we get a continuation from it. If not, you could be looking at more of a flat market. And then the next best place for a buy would be 46.20, 46.200. So yeah, Dow Jones, I like the longs. We've got a nice zone resting below us here. Again, looking for price to get there first of all, reject well, and then look for some longs. And then, yeah, back to high is just what the indices do next. Of course, fundamentally, things could change, but in terms of the technicals, you just want to keep looking to buy back to highs. That's effectively the aim of the game when you trade in the indice. Yeah, that's where probability lies. So, yeah, opportunity there on US 30, but I like NASDAQ because it hasn't made new all-time highs yet. So there's still that opportunity to trade that move. But anyway, guys, we have come to the end of the stream. Appreciate it, replay. Appreciate it, Wilfred. Thank you so much for everyone that tuning into the stream. I hope you have found it useful, enjoyed it, learned something. If that's the case, drop a like, smash the subscribe button, and of course, hit the bell as well. So hopefully YouTube will notify you, although there's some issues with that, but hopefully it will notify you when I do go live. But I do go live same time every day, 10 a.m. UK time. So, you know, write down a piece of paper if you need to, but same time always, 10 a.m. UK time. I'll be live here every weekday. So if you do want to tune in for more streams, see how my positions go, if I do enter any new trades, I'll let you guys know and we can discuss that. And of course, if any trades you're in that you want some opinions on, or just general questions, you can always drop questions here. That's always welcome. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day. Of course, be careful for NFP later. Completely slipped my mind. I can imagine that'll slip a lot of other people. So yeah, definitely do be aware of that. But yeah, we'll be live again tomorrow, same time as always. So thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day. Catch you all on the next one. Take care.